Hey viewers, I've taken a look at the recently released Weapons Overhaul Systems mod. It's the holidays, so I didn't have as much time to look at it as I wanted, but don't worry, that doesn't mean I half-assed this video. I put one full-ass unit of effort in. Anyways, now that I've lost 90% of my audience retention, I won't waste any more of your time. Is this mod worth using? My answer is, as usual, it depends. If you're an Xbox user and you've spent most of your load order space already and only have a few hundred megabytes left for weapons, this is going to be a great choice. However, if you're a realism fanatic, this is not the mod for you. If you expected to see new models and animations for every single weapon, you'll be very disappointed. WOS adds a bunch of new attachments to the vanilla guns and energy weapons and adds a few more of its own, but for the most part, they're nif-bashed together from vanilla assets. That sure keeps the file size down, but file size is not a concern for most people. WOS also adds a new ammo type switching system that's surprisingly robust despite not requiring the script extender. I have a problem with some of the ammo types being overpowered, and that leads into my biggest complaint with this mod. It trivializes late-game combat by allowing you to become insanely overpowered. My advice if you're going to use WOS would be to pair it with a perk overhaul that removes the damage-increasing perks, and I would also advise you disable the special-based damage and real-time critical hits features of the mod. I would additionally recommend you play on survival mode or an even harder custom difficulty, because otherwise there will be no challenge with WOS loaded. Those are my thoughts in general. I have a few other little complaints, but I'm sure they'll get fixed once I point them out, so I'm not too worried about them. Moving on to compatibility, it's about as good as you would expect. Any mod that adds more guns or energy weapons to the game will need a patch, and patches are available for the big mods like America Rising 2, Point Lookout, and Sim Settlements 2. And of course, all of these 6th Messenger's standalone weapons have patches, and so do several other popular weapon mods. On PC, these patches can be selected directly from the FOMod installer, and on Xbox, they're available as separate mods. But even with all these patches, 99% of all weapon mods will be incompatible with WOS, and that might be a deal breaker for a lot of people. It also will not work with true damage, better locational damage, munitions, or caliber complex. Any mod that adds new ammo types or rebalances weapons is going to be a no-go. Maybe the caliber damage overhaul patcher will work, but I didn't try it, and I don't imagine it would work perfectly. I'd say if you're going to use this mod, you just have to accept its ammo system and its balancing as the price of entry. As a general rule, if the mod doesn't add any weapons, attachments, or ammunition, it should be compatible with weapons overhaul systems. Follow that rule, and you should be alright. One good thing about this mod is it's very modular, so you can disable some plugins if you don't like what they do. I wish it was even more modular, honestly. I'll go through each plugin's changes one by one. The main system renames most ranged weapons in the game, adds several attachments for them, and adds a few nif-bashed weapons. The new weapons and attachments are mechanically interesting, albeit visually unimpressive. The new anti-material rifle, for example, looks nearly identical to the combat rifle and shotgun that are in the vanilla game. The 38 revolver is nearly identical to the 44 pistol, although oddly it fires in double action mode. I like the attachments. There's some really creative ones like stub barrels for the minigun or a spiked grip for the pipe revolver, but if you compare them to the also recently released attachment pack by Degenerate Dak, which I might review in the future, you can definitely tell both the quality and quantity are not quite up to par. I noticed a few issues like the short barrel on the Deliverer, renamed Covert Pistol, being longer than the extended barrel. The combat shotgun, combat rifle, and anti-material rifle are partially invisible when viewed on your back with classic holstered weapons, although the blame for this flaw might fall on classic holstered weapons, and I don't believe it's a huge problem. It's disabled by default, but critical hits can be added to real-time combat if you enable it in the holotape menu. I would advise against enabling real-time criticals because the weapons in this mod are overpowered enough as is. You really don't need another method of gaining a huge damage bonus. Speaking of damage bonuses, special-based damage bonuses can be disabled from the same holotape menu, and I would highly recommend doing so because, again, weapons already do too much damage. You don't need 50% extra rifle damage from having 10 perception because an upgraded heavy rifle, which is kind of like the assault rifle and Gauss rifle mashed together, can already do well over 1,000 damage even without the perception bonus. There's a setting controlling weapon jamming as well, but as far as I can tell, jamming is not implemented into the mod because I tested for a long while and I was unable to get any of my weapons to jam, ever. I guess you can ignore the setting for now. This can't be turned off, but there are affinity bonuses for various creature types. For example, ghouls are highly vulnerable to flame-based weapons, humans are more vulnerable to radioactive weapons, synths are vulnerable to pulse weapons, and so on. There's a few weird, undocumented changes made too, like making Gristle, the raider leader in Concord, use power armor and changing his stats. Only a few changes like this have been made though, and 99% of NPCs haven't been touched. The main plugin also adds an ammo switching system, which has little use on its own except for letting you swap Thirst Zapper ammo types on the fly, or shooting both barrels of a double-barrel shotgun at once. You switch ammo types via an aid item, which can be hotkeyed for ease of use. To get the full effect of the ammo switching system, you need the ammo module, which I'll talk about later. First, I want to briefly cover the optional projectile-based bullets plugin. Right now, I can't recommend it because it causes some ammo types, such as Incendiary Tracer 7.62 rounds, to emit no projectile at all. I assume that this oversight is easy to fix and will be fixed shortly, but even when it does get fixed, like I've said in earlier videos, there's little advantage to making bullets non-hit scan due to the short-range nature of Fallout 4's combat. Alright, let's move on to the Lite System, which is confusingly named. At a cursory glance, you'd assume that it's a lightweight version of the main mod, but no, it requires the main ESM plugin and actually adds onto it. It standardizes the receiver and barrel naming conventions for all weapons and adds extra rechambering possibilities. It also adds burst fire receivers to some weapons, and it's a pleasant surprise that they work flawlessly. Vanilla Fallout 4 doesn't feature burst fire weapons, and some mods mess up trying to add them, but this mod works fine in all perspectives, including power armor. Finally, the Lite module makes the submachine gun right-handed and gives it a custom animation. I wish more weapons were given custom animations, but only the submachine gun gets them. Next up, I'll talk about the ammo system, and this is where I start to have a lot of concerns about balancing. While I love the variety of ammo types added to each caliber, some of these ammo types are just absurd. The smart rounds, sometimes called trick shot rounds, are fucking nuts. They should be called aimbot rounds because you can literally aim 180 degrees away from enemies and still hit them while they're behind you. That's one hell of a trick shot. I kind of hope these rounds would be projectiles that bounce off of surfaces, but I don't think that's possible with Fallout 4's terrible ballistics system. Trick shot rounds do a little less damage than normal bullets, but not much less, and with a fast automatic weapon, that really doesn't matter. All you have to do is spray around your enemy's cover and you can kill them before they even have a chance to shoot back. No skill or strategy required. If you think trick shot rounds are overpowered, just wait until you hear about rechargeable fusion cells and quantum fusion cores. Every shot of these you fire adds a round of ammo back into your inventory, so you never have to worry about ammo. With a quantum Gatling laser, an overcharging barrel, and a beam splitter, you can pretty much just hold down the left mouse button, point in the general direction of your enemies, and they'll be dead. And you have infinite ammo and never need to reload. It's a shame these ammo types are so overpowered because I find the other ammo types interesting. Microwave rounds make targets explode on death, depleted uranium rounds do radiation damage and are more effective against humans, slugs give shotguns more range, overpressure rounds deal more damage. Most of the ammo types are excellent, it's just a few that are way out of line. If overpowered ammo was hard to acquire, it might have been acceptable, but it's too easy to craft whatever you want thanks to crafting recipes being added at the chemistry workbench. Another problem with the ammo system is some ammo types are unable to ignite oil slicks or gas. I'm pretty sure all guns can do this in vanilla, so this is something that should be fixed. Or maybe it could be rebalanced so only incendiary rounds can light these traps. That would be an interesting change. As long as it makes sense, I don't really care. The new fusion core types have a weird behavior. You're not allowed to directly insert them into power armor, but if you have a non-standard core in your inventory, it will automatically be used when you run out of regular cores, though the HUD will still list 0 cores remaining. All non-standard fusion cores are converted into regular cores when the power armor starts using them, so letting them get eaten by power armor is a waste. One other problem I had was the aid item that switches your ammo types eventually stopped working for me, at least for most guns. I can't understand why. Maybe I was carrying around too many ammo types. The HUD framework widget certainly can have trouble displaying all your ammo types if you carry too many, but that's not a huge deal. It would be more annoying if the display wrapped around the entire screen instead of getting cut off. Through the holotape menu, you can set the spawn rates of ammo types or cheat in ammo if you just want to mess around. These are great inclusions. I'd say a quick rebalance would make this mod's ammo system shine. I already enjoy it more than I did Wars, so it's doing something right. The heavy system adds a few new ammo types for the harpoon gun, broadsider, missile launcher, and Fat Man, and adds tracking fire modes for the missile launcher and Fat Man, although tracking projectiles comes at the cost of doing less damage. The Fat Man in particular has more ammo types than I can count. There's bowling balls, cluster bombs, Davy Crockett nukes, and a synth Merv grenade that spawns in 8 synths at once for total chaos. The Fat Man has been made a very enjoyable weapon to use, although as expected it can be just as dangerous to you as the enemy, but that's all part of the fun. My only worry is, of course, some of these ammo types being so overpowered that the game loses all challenge. And that's more or less all I have to say about Weapons Overhaul Systems. It's a good mod, but it definitely needs some work. The heavy reliance on bashing together vanilla models will turn a lot of people off, but if I was stuck playing Fallout 4 on an Xbox with only 300 megabytes of space left, I don't think I could find a better mod to overhaul every single weapon in the game. I hope you found this review kind of useful, even though I rushed it, and have a happy 2024. Toodles!